Good morning. Good morning. It was just a little lag there. I wanted to make sure I was live before I started talking because there's nothing worse than jumping on live and getting halfway through a conversation with myself. So I hope everybody is having a great day. I am just pulling things up to make sure I'm in the right spot. I actually went in the wrong spot last week in another group. So every time I say that, and you're like, yeah, you're always in the right spot. Well, not that time. I hope everybody is having an amazing day. I hope you had a good weekend. We are starting our second week in the walk-in pantry, and we are going to be working on the second half. So the first week we worked on the first half, and we got everything done over on that side or that area. And this week is finishing up that space. So what we talked about last week before we started was, hello Sandy, hello Tina, was who was that? Elkie. Hi, Elkie. Oh, I'm so glad. Yay. Welcome back. We haven't seen you in a while. Okay. And you are very welcome. So I'm super happy you're back. Hello, Annette. Hello. Okay. So last week, we talked about deciding where you're going to work and cutting it in half. And if you didn't watch that video, remember that's in the members hub, and the link gets mailed out every afternoon in our weekly recap email. So if you're not access to the members hub and you don't know how to get into the members hub, just reach out to us at contact@tracylynnmedia.com, and one of my tech agents will help you get in there. Okay, so doesn't that sound really professional, tech agent? I just made that up. Okay, so anyhow, last week we started by making a plan. So if you have not done that yet, Elkie, if you're just joining us now, that's where I want you to start first. We're working on dry food last week and this week. So this is anything that doesn't need a refrigerator or a freezer to keep it in good shape, right? So it could be a cabinet, it could be a basement pantry. For many years, that's all I had. It could be a walk-in pantry. It could be a closet. Wherever you store your boxes, your mixes, your canned goods, your drinks, your oils, all of those things. We worked on half last week. You're working on the rest of it this week. Now, Elkie, since you weren't here last week, I would just choose an area that you can work on. So basically what I would do if I were you, Elkie, I would go one shelf at a time and work it all the way to done. That way you're at least seeing each section all the way to done. You may not necessarily get the entire space done, but you'll get each section done. Okay. All right. So we are going to be working down the same exact list that we did last week, except working on the second half of the pantry. I'm still going to map it out, but because it's the same as last week, I thought I'd throw in a few bonus tips for organizing your food pantry, so that there is something different in this video. Okay. All right. Let me pull up my notes, which are right here. All right. So this week's project is working on the second half of your food storage area. So let's break it down into steps. And remember, this list is going to get sent to you via email today, and you can print it out, copy it, or you can copy this list, just highlight it, paste it into a Google Doc and print it out. And that way you could take it into the pantry with you. So step number one, you want to, like I said, apparently I'm repeating myself this week, put your focus on the remaining area of the pantry that you chose to work on. Step number two, make sure you mark off time on your schedule for the week ahead that you're committed to working in this space. I haven't really been talking about that a lot in the last few months because I've just been so focused on getting to the project, but I think this is something that is important and is going to help more of us show up and be present in the project itself, right? Because Monday gets here, we're all excited for a new week. We're all motivated to get stuff done. And then before we know it's Thursday and we haven't done anything yet. So my job, besides giving you a project and hopefully keeping you super motivated, is to help you set up tools to hold yourself accountable and to make sure you show up. So I want you to mark off time on your calendar for every single day this week, including today, that you are going to work on your food storage area, your dry food storage area. So it could be 10 minutes, it could be 20 minutes, it could be 40, it doesn't matter. As long as you have a little bit of time marked off for every single day. I would take that one step further, and I would also set a reminder on your phone so that you have a little alarm that goes off and says, okay, you need to work for the next 10 minutes in this area. Stop what you're doing, get to your food pantry area, work as fast and as hard as you can for 10 minutes, check it off as another project done, and go about your day. It really is that easy. And don't ever think it's a waste of time to work for 10 minutes in a project, because if you work 10 minutes every single day, that's an hour and 10 minutes of total time. That's a lot of time, right? That's a lot of time. So don't look at the small picture. When usually I say don't look at the big picture, but this time you want to. So these small investments of time create a big picture of success. So just keep yourself on track and on task and in the moment so that you don't get distracted. Okay, so step number 3, use the same sorting area you did last week. So Elke, we talked about this last week. You want to have a space that allows you to spread out your food, because the secret to streamlining a pantry is organizing your dry food into categories. Tina, yes, that is super, super important that you do that. The categories are the special sauce to your system staying as is going forward. So when you have categories, okay, let me just jump in and say this. When you go to the grocery store, let's say you're there to get a can of chicken noodle soup. You kind of know right where that can of soup is. And if you don't, there are great big signs over the aisles that tell you where the soup is, right? And even when you walk into the soup aisle, you could probably know approximately where the soup that you're looking for is. It's because, first of all, the grocery store is set up into categories. So the soup aisle is just that. It's all soup. It's powders, it's broth, it's canned, it's boxed, it's all of the soup, right? Also, it has a great big label. So not only you, but any other person that walks in the store knows exactly where the soup is. Your pantry is a mini-sized version of a grocery store. You've got a lot of different categories crammed into one space. So you need to use what you have in the most efficient way. That means containers in areas that are easy to get to for how frequently you use them, as well as big, bold labels so you can see what goes where. So let's say you buy things in bulk, and instead of one container of olive oil, you ended up getting 3 containers of olive oil. So you have your 1 container of olive oil out with your spices because you use it every single day. And the other 2 containers of olive oil are in your walk-in pantry or your food storage area, right? So instead of having them all out on the counter, which means clutter, because clutter is anything excess that needs to be put away, right? You're going to designate a home inside your pantry. Now, you're not going to put it on a shelf that's at eye level, because the extra oil that you purchased does not need to be accessed often, right? You're probably going to access it once a month, once every other month. So that means you want to give it a home down low or up high, and save that prime real estate for the items that you access all the time. The cereal box, the snack bin, the soup container, the spices basket, all those things that you reach for all the time, you want them right there. You want them right there where you can grab them without bending, without having to get a step ladder, without risking injury because you're constantly getting up and down. Doesn't matter what it is. Even if it's a heavy item, still put it in your prime real estate. So let's say you drink energy drinks and you drink one every single day. You're not going to put it on the floor, because that means you're bending over to pick up that energy drink. And that is sometimes inconvenient to the point where you're not going to put it back where it belongs if it's an item that you use and don't use. You see what I'm saying? So let's say it's, I don't know, I need something heavy that you would use frequently that is big. Let's just say it's a great big container of rice, okay? It's a big container of rice. It's like this big, and you have it on the floor underneath your shelf in your pantry. In order to get to that rice, which you tend to use 3 times a week to make meals, you've got to pull it out, you've got to open it up, you've got to get out the serving, you've got to shut it, and you've got to put it back. Instead, you could pull it on a roll-out platform on a main shelf so you can slide it out, get the scoop, and put it back. You've completely eliminated a physical step to getting that rice. And that is the whole purpose behind streamlining your pantry, to make it efficient for you. Okay. So those of you that don't eat rice every day, this doesn't pertain to you because this is not your pantry. So it needs to make sense to you, to the food that you eat, and set up in a way that is physically easy for you to stick with going forward. Okay. So there's my spiel I didn't even plan on making. All right. So once you have your sorting area set up, which would be a kitchen table or a kitchen counter, then you want to make sure you still have your two sorting bins out in the open. You only need two. One's for donation, anything that's not expired, not damaged, not open, that you will not be eating or don't even know why you even bought it in the first place, can be donated off to the food pantry, which is accepting donations right now. Number two is a trash can, and that's for anything that's open, stale, damaged, something that is expired, any of those things that you can't donate and you will not be eating. That goes in the trash. Please do not beat yourself up for anything that is throwing away. Do not tell yourself that you are wasting money by throwing it away, and you will find a way to incorporate it into your diet. The funny thing is, you wasted the money when you bought it. You're not wasting the money when you throw it away. Okay? So don't use that as an excuse for keeping food you know you are not going to eat. All right? Let it go. Get it out of your pantry. It is going to be much better for you mentally and physically and financially if you have an organized pantry than keeping all that stuff you bought with money and taking up valuable real estate inside. Hang on, guys. I'm having a hot flash, so I have to get my fan on. Okay. So the next step is once you have your sorting bins label or set out and you have your sorting area all ready to go, I want you to grab a collection of food from your pantry. You can use a laundry basket to carry it over, or if you're already using baskets, take the entire basket out. Do not sort it in the pantry because you're not going to truly see what is inside of that basket. I want you to take it to the table. I want you to empty the basket out, sorting things one at a time. So if you have a basket that says soup on the outside, but you find there's macaroni and cheese in there, and there's a bottle of Pam in there, and there's a thing of roasted tomatoes in there, you need to sort it out. So we're going to use index cards to label our categories. So you might have an Italian category, so that's where the roasted tomatoes go. You might have a side dish category, and that's where the macaroni and cheese is going to go. And the soup category, which you already have the basket for, that's where the soup is going to go. I want you to sort every single item in this half of your food storage area or whatever area you're working on, it might just be a shelf, into categories using index cards to label each one. The reason why you want the index cards is it's going to tell you what that category is. So if you have a card that says Italian, but you don't yet have a basket for it because you never thought you needed one, but you find that you have 14 jars of spaghetti sauce, that's going to mean one of two things. Either, number one, you eat a lot of Italian and therefore you do need to have a basket to contain those items. Or number two, you don't eat a lot of Italian and you just didn't realize you had that many jars of tomato sauce. So you either need to set up a bin, label it Italian, and start using that going forward, or you need to donate all but 2 cans of tomato sauce to the food pantry and get that collection down to a reasonable size. By knowing your categories, keeping them separated and contained by themselves, you are going to see exactly what you have. You are going to simplify your meal planning, and you are going to save a lot of money at the grocery store because you are now going to be able to see for sure and for certain exactly where you need to replenish and where you have an overstock already. Okay? All right. So you want to keep doing that until an area that you're working on is completely empty of food. Once you have a shelf that is empty or a floor that is empty or a side that is empty, wipe everything down. Get the front, get the back, get the top, get it all nice and clean. So you're starting with a really nice and clean slate. Then, before you put everything back, make sure you use bins and baskets to hold your categories all together. Hang on, there's a typo. You don't want a typo on your list. There you go. Make sure you use bins and baskets to hold your categories all together. Jute baskets are my favorite because they're sturdy, they can hold a lot of weight, and they stand up for a long time. So I got my first set of jute baskets. They're not cheap, but they're a good price investment. I got my first set of jute baskets, I want to say probably 3 years ago, and I have yet to crack a single one. And I fill them with cans and I just rip them in and out on that wire shelf in my pantry, right? They really stand up to a beating. And that to me makes them worth the price tag that they come with. Walmart sells a lot of jute baskets, much cheaper than Amazon sells them for. So I would look there first. They also discount them often, but not online. It's usually in the store. So every single time I go to Amazon, I check to see if they have my jute baskets, because I always like to get extras because I still don't have that pantry completely contained yet. I have a couple more things that need done. So I'm always looking for discounts. That's just an extra tip. Okay. So get the baskets that you want to hold your like items. They do not need to match right now. Right now, you're just test driving this new setup. Once you know this setup works, then you can invest as a reward to you for all your hard work in baskets that match or are farmhouse themed or are colorful, whatever it is. But right now, you can use cardboard boxes. You can use wire ones here, plastic ones there, wicker ones there. It doesn't matter. Right now, you're just trying out the categories and the container sizes, not the actual containers. Does that make sense? Then make sure everything is labeled, not only so you know what belongs there, but so every single person in your family knows what belongs where. Continue working until everything is taken out, decluttered, organized, put back in with labels that are bold and bright. Okay? So I have a few extra bonus tips that I want to give you for the pantry. Number one, I know a lot of people, myself included, store potatoes and onions inside of a pantry. But there is something that you need to be aware of when it comes to storing these two items. Since ethylene gas is a culprit of premature spoilage of potatoes and onions, you know how sometimes they sprout or they get those little pokey things coming out of them? You want to make sure that onions and potatoes are far enough apart so that normal ventilation will keep both of them fresh. This will help them to last longer for you. So this means you don't want to have them side by side on a kitchen counter, side by side inside of a pantry, or even in the same drawer. You want to give them breathing room and space. So I would say put them each in their own container and make sure they're about a foot apart inside your pantry. As long as your pantry has a little bit of air to move around, your onions and potatoes should last longer than they may be lasting now. Okay, so another tip I want to share with you, this is my last tip, I only have two for you today, is utilizing the floor in a pantry. It surprises me how many people consider the floor a drop and go space in their pantry. Instead, I want you to look at the floor as another shelf in your pantry. When you can give it a designated name, such as a shelf, it's going to help you be more intentional as to how you set that area up. So there are a few things that you can do on the floor. So if you have shelves in your pantry that go all the way down and you only have this much space on the bottom, you could get one of those wire rolling carts that are meant to go under the bed. And you can use that as your movable bottom shelf on the floor. And since they're made of wire, they're going to hold up better to weight. And that means you can put your rice maker in there, a crock pot can go in there, an indoor grill can go in there. Any of those small appliances that used to be out on your kitchen counter can now be stored in one of those pull-out carts in your pantry. It's easy for you to get to because you could just slide it out and grab what you need. Yet it's out of the way and not taking up prime real estate in that middle area. Another thing that you can do is use hampers. I love using hampers as organizers all over my home. I love, love, love hampers. You could buy canvas hampers, which are pretty heavy duty. You can buy lightweight plastic hampers if you're short on money, because those are very inexpensive. And you can get plastic deep hampers, which are a bit more durable. What you can store in hampers are paper towels if you buy them in bulk like I do. You can put a whole bunch of paper towel rolls in a hamper and store that on the floor. You could put seasonal cloth items like Christmas tablecloths or summer picnic tablecloths, things like that can go inside of a hamper. Plastic shopping bags from the store, as well as your any bag, bag coolers, like small coolers that come in a bag. Those can each go into their own hampers, things like that. Anything that's bulky, that's big, that tends to, too much coffee, that tends to take up too much space in a pantry can go in a deep hamper. The thing that I like about hampers is, especially if you get the canvas ones, they look really nice on the outside. They hold a hot mess on the inside. I love that kind of organizer. So I can pull it out, throw it in, put it back, instant neatness, right? And it's easy for me to put things away. Pull it out, throw in the tablecloth, put it back. Pull it out, throw in the shopping bags from my store run, put them back. Pull it out, grab a thing of paper towels, put it back. It makes it easy for me to keep up with that system, yet it lets my pantry look nice, neat, and organized. Rolling bins. Those are really good organizers for bulky and heavy items. So if you buy in bulk and you buy a large supply of something, rolling food storage bins are a really good thing to look into. So you can do that for if you buy sugar in bulk, if you buy rice in bulk, if you buy flour in bulk, you can get the rolling bins. They have wheels on the bottom. They have a snapping lid, which means it's airtight. You can pull it out, get out however much you need, shut it and push it back. It looks neat from the outside and it's easy and out of your prime real estate area, but it's still easy to access. You can also do it with pet food. So that's what I have. I have a rolling bin that I put all of my pet food in. So I can roll it out, open it up, get the food out, shut it, put it back. It looks neat. It allows me to keep a large supply there so I'm not always running to the store, and it keeps things put away for my pup. All right, and then finally, you can use the old-fashioned plastic storage totes, like the blue ones with the snapping lids. You can use those to hold seasonal items inside of your pantry. Things like Christmas dishes, Christmas glasses, seasonal coffee mugs, which is what I have. You could put in paper items like Thanksgiving napkins, Thanksgiving plates, birthday napkins and plates, and even birthday decorations. If you decorate cakes or decorate your home for birthday parties, that can all go into its own tote. Keep it in the pantry. Know exactly where it is. Make sure it's labeled so you know exactly what's inside, and everything is in a same place without having to run all over your house to find the things you need for entertaining. You can also do a tote for potluck supplies like big serving platters or carafes, or those insulated Pyrex bowls with a carrier can go in there as well. You know where everything is. It's food related, so it makes sense being in the pantry, and it's not taking up visual real estate because it's in a tote. It's shut. It's got a nice big label on it, and it's organized. So that is it for my bonus tips for you today. So your job this week is to finish up your dry food storage areas, get as much done as you possibly can. Do it one section at a time, especially if you don't think you can get the entire area done. That way you're making mini goals all the way down, and then you can finish up as you have more free time. I will be back this Thursday, November 9th at 1 p.m. with another clutter bonus video, so make sure you join me then. Annette says, great suggestions. Thanks so much. You are welcome, Annette. Elke said, sounds like you have a big pantry. I am putting stuff into the garage. Okay. Here's the thing. My pantry used to be my laundry area, and it's all the way in my mudroom around a corner. It's not close to my kitchen. So that's like my overspill pantry, and then I have a cabinet in my kitchen where I keep my food. I do not have a really nice walk-in pantry like you see in the magazines. We had to move my washer and dryer to the basement. Yep, all the way down to the basement. And then I just turned that little washer dryer area into a food pantry. It's got wire shelving, and I hate it, because wire shelves make things fall like dominoes. So yeah, it's not the best thing, but by doing these tips, I've made it look nicer than it used to look. So there you go. Okay. I think that is it for everything. So work on the pantry. Join me on Thursday for a bonus video, and then join me next Monday at 11 a.m. Eastern time as we tackle project number 3 in our food storage areas. And for those of you who want to know what we're working on, we will be working on the refrigerator. Oh, we have 5 weeks this month. Isn't that exciting? We have 5 weeks this month. So we will have 5 projects to work on in the food storage area. So I'm super excited. So next week, we will be working on the refrigerator. Okay, just to give you a heads up. So get the dry food done so you're ready to start with us on the cold food. All right, everybody, have an amazing day. I will see you on Thursday. Take care and happy decluttering. Bye, everybody.